Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dental Hygiene Basics podcast. My name is Dana. I'm your host and very excited to have another Dana with me on the podcast today. Welcome, Dana Schmitt. We're so excited to have you. My first question I always ask is just tell me a little bit about yourself, your RDH origin story. How did you get to this point?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so excited to be here with you. So my origin story, I went to school I went to college after high school and got an undergrad. It was time to pick a major and I didn't have one. And I still didn't know what I wanted to do. And I had the most credits in sociology. So I figured I'd get a degree in sociology. I didn't really know what I would do with that, and I didn't really do much with it. So after college, I worked in a foreign country doing nonprofit work for a long time. I kind of tried to figure out where I wanted to go and where I would fit in, and just kind of kept wandering for a little. And I was pretty interested in nursing, but there was some components about it that I just couldn't stomach. So I kept thinking, like, is there a different aspect of the medical field? And I kind of stumbled upon dental hygiene. And I thought, okay, I'll go shadow a hygienist and a dentist, and I'll probably get super grossed out. And then I'll know it's not for me. And then I'll have to like continue on my journey. So I went and shadowed at a practice for a couple days, and I thought it was so neat. I was so excited. I didn't get grossed out at all. I kept learning more and more about dental hygiene, and everything just kind of started to feel like it could fall in place for me. And so I really leaned into it and kept falling in love with all of the aspects of it, and then started to pursue a degree.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so you mentioned you were working not in a nonprofit in a foreign country. What were you doing? I'm just curious. That's so interesting.
I was doing community development work in Ecuador. So I was there with 7 other recent college grads, and we lived together, we worked together. We were with a very young nonprofit, and we went out into a community, and they kind of said, figure out what this community needs and then figure out how to provide it for them. So that's what we did.
That is so cool. I teach community a lot with helping with boards prep, and that's exactly what we do, right? Whenever we're community program planning, you have to figure out what the community wants. You have to assess their needs. You come up with a plan, then you implement the plan, right? There's a whole process. So it's really cool that you were living that and experiencing that in real life. Very cool. And do you still continue to like donate your time, stuff like that within like doing dental hygiene skills now?
I
I don't know, just
do.
curious.
I do, which has been great because I got to do a lot of really fun, interesting work when I was in Ecuador, but I didn't have like a really tangible skill. One of the girls that I lived with was applying to med school. And so her path was like really specific. She had all these specific goals. She wanted to go spend time at medical clinics and focus on health. And I really admired her focus points and what she was able to deliver to the community. And I didn't have that yet. So once I graduated from hygiene school and I did have this like tangible skill that no one could question or anything like that, I have continued to, and I actually got to do a really amazing trip with one hygiene school. We went to Peru to do free dental work, and then we stayed a little bit longer and traveled through Colombia together.
That is so incredible. I know I always say you get this skill, right? And dental hygiene is almost like a trade. Like no one can take it away from you once you learn that amazing skill. And to be able to take that and give back to the community in so many different ways. I love that. I think it's good for our students to hear, if you know you want to pursue something, think about the different ways that you can go out and learn more about it. And that can boost your application too, right? Because you said you're watching this med student who has a goal and knows what they're doing. And then that suddenly puts the other pieces in place for I should be, going to the dental clinic. I should try and get hands on there, right? So yeah, that's really great. And I love hearing that part of your story because I did not know that about you. And I would love to do a mission trip. It's definitely on my career bucket list to do at some point. I do a lot around San Antonio, a lot of volunteer events, which I'm blessed to live in a big city that often has free dental hygiene events like that for the community, but it would be pretty cool to travel abroad. So thank you for sharing that part of your story. Well, I do want to just do a couple of rapid fire questions. So, where did you go to dental hygiene school?
I went to the Community College of Denver.
Okay, awesome. And did you get in on your first try?
I did.
Wow, that's great. Do you remember what your GPA was when you applied?
It was a 4.0 because I was told that if you want to get into dental hygiene school, you need to apply with a 4.0. So that's what I did.
That's awesome. And so at this point, though, you had already had a degree. So did you have to go back and take any classes to get to that 4.0?
I did. I had about half of my prereqs done. No science ones, didn't do any science studying sociology. So all the really hard classes I went back and took as prereqs to apply.
Wow. And so when you first graduated with your degree in sociology, was that a bachelor's or an associate's?
It was a bachelor's.
Okay, so you had a bachelor's underneath, or in your pocket. You probably worked out some of the kinks as it relates to studying and getting the hang of college life and all of that. Did you feel like when you went back after that to just focus on your those specific science courses, was it a little bit easier because you'd already been through so much school, or was it still just as difficult?
Maybe in some aspects it was easier because, well, I think I was really determined. When I was doing my undergrad, it was like it was kind of just like checking a box off of the like to-do list kind of thing. I just wanted to go to college. I wanted to make that happen, but not for any specific goal. And when I was going to dental hygiene school, it all felt so well planned. So in some ways, yeah, I felt like well prepared, but for like the science component, I was pretty intimidated, but very determined. So I think that's what really helped.
Yeah, and you kinda have to be going into it, I think a lot of people accept defeat before they even get into those classes, right? I see all the comments
Like,
on TikTok and people are like, "Oh, I'm dreading chemistry," or "I'm dreading this class," and it's like, "Okay, don't accept defeat before you get there." Like, know what you have to do and then just hit the ground running, right? Get the help that you need, if you need tutoring, whatever it is, like, to put your best foot forward. So I kind of like the non-traditional paths, and I'm thinking about, you applying and me sitting on the admissions committee or whoever was on the admissions committee looking at your application, and you see you have the bachelor's history, you've got the 4.0, you did well in your science classes, and you have that incredible experience with the nonprofit. That's a slam dunk on an application, right? You check every box that schools are looking for. So I really think that's incredible. And to not even really know what you were going to do until, later in the game, that's awesome. So how old were you when you started dental hygiene school? 28. Okay. So a little bit older, you had a little bit of lived experience behind you. And I think that's great. I went back at 25 and I felt old, I felt like I was
yeah.
one of the older ones there. And so, but did you think you had a benefit in the fact that you were a little bit older?
I honestly didn't feel older in my program. There was like such a huge span. I don't think there was anyone under 21. And some of the women that I was with were in their 40s.
Yeah.
So I felt like kind of middle of the range. What was your question?
Yeah. Just do you think that because you went back at a little bit
Yeah.
older age, what benefit do you think that might have had for you? Or did it have any?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that like my maturity level was quite ready when I was younger. I like was a dreamer. I wanted to travel. I was like up in the clouds a lot. Adventures were a huge priority for me, and I didn't really want to settle into a career. So I think I needed that time to figure out like what felt good and what I was really passionate about. So absolutely. If I had tried to pursue dental hygiene directly out of high school and into prereqs and into the program, I don't think that I was mature enough yet.
Yeah, I think that, the universe had a hand in delaying me from getting there too, because I think I needed a little bit more maturity. And once I got there, I was a little bit more laser focused. I will say though, despite the fact that I was delayed, for me mentally, I knew what I wanted to do. I was pushing forward and I kept trying to push forward. I kind of wish I would have taken it a little bit easier on myself. Like you went and experienced all of these incredible things. I did experience a lot, but at the same time, I felt like in the back of my head, but maybe this is just a young trying to figure out life thing. I felt like I was having a hard time being in the moment because I was so like, what's coming next? How do I get to the next step, the next phase? And I kind of wish looking back, I just let it ride a little bit and had a little bit more fun. But we don't know. Hindsight's 2020. But I think that's really great. And you've done so many amazing things in your career up until this point. So when did you graduate? What year did you graduate?
2015.
2015. Oh my gosh, everyone I meet is 2015. I'm also
Really?
2015. Yeah, yeah.
Really?
Something about the 2015 girlies, man. We are out there like doing all sorts of cool stuff. So it's a lot of fun. So after you graduated, I want to know that career progression. Like, what did life look like between then and now?
I graduated. I had very, very little experience in dentistry. So I knew that I wanted to temp. I didn't want to commit to one office right off of the bat. I had no idea like where I would fit in with best. I wanted to put some feelers out. Like, did I want to be the only hygienist? Did I want to be with a team of hygienists? What was the energy from the doctors? So I decided to temp with a traditional temp agency, and it provided me so much amazing opportunity. I loved being able to step into so many different offices, get a ton of exposure to different practices. I probably only walked into about 3 offices in about 6 months of temping that I thought I would work here. I could come here every day. So that was really good to know. It made me feel confident about being picky. And then when I found an office that I liked, I let them know and I was really excited to commit. And so I did. They offered me a full time job and I stayed there for about 4 years. And it was at a random CE. A friend of mine from hygiene school reached out and said, "Do you want to go to a CE on like toothpaste or something? It's at a brewery and they're going to be serving free beer." And I was like, "Yes, of course, I want to go hang out with you and catch up and listen to a CE in the background, essentially." So we go to the CE. I'm really excited to see my friend from hygiene school, and Cloud Dentistry happened to be hosting the CE. So at intermission or the break or whatever, they do their little spiel and they talk about Cloud and who they are and how they're not a traditional temp agency. This was in like 2018 and what they were doing for dental professionals. And I caught my eye, my ear, I guess, right off the bat. And I was like, what is this company? Like what they are doing is so amazing and I need to be a part of it. So I got their contact information. I came up with a million reasons why they would kind of like laugh at me proposing like an opportunity or some sort of partnership if I reached out to them. So I delayed for a while. And then finally I thought, like, you got to reach out to Cloud. The worst thing that they're going to tell you is like, "No, thanks. We're good. We know what we're doing. We don't need your help." But so I did. I got the courage. I reached out to them. I said, "Do you have anyone letting dental hygiene students know about cloud dentistry? Because they need to know about you." If I had been able to utilize cloud when I got done with school, my transition into my career would have been so different. And the woman that I talked to, who's still with Cloud now, Jessica, she was very sweet. And she immediately said, "Let me connect you with our CEO." And I thought, oh gosh, that was a little intimidating too. And so they connected me with the CEO, Trey, who's still the CEO of Cloud. And he said, "Yeah, can you connect with dental hygiene students and let them know about Cloud? We would love someone to do that." And I said, "I don't know, but I would like to try." And so from there on, it was just like a very welcoming, very warm environment and experience. I'd come up with ideas. They'd say, "Yeah, just do it. Like if you can make that happen, just do it." And it was really fun. It was so stimulating. So I kind of did like contract work with Cloud on and on. Well, yeah, like starting in 2018 and then I kind of transitioned into a part-time position. I really loved doing hygiene, so I just wasn't totally ready to let go of it completely. And then just recently, last year, I got to transition into a full-time position.
Wow, that's so amazing. What a great story. And I really think it shows all of the factors that go into a career and career growth, and seeing, okay, you're in a role, you're happy, you've been there 4 years, but all of a sudden an opportunity, I wouldn't even say an opportunity comes up, just an idea comes up, right? And you take the initiative to just move on that and look at what's happened so far. I think, I talk a lot about listening to your intuition, but also giving yourself space for opportunity. And the opportunity doesn't have to look like an immediate jump into a full time position, right? You did that over the course of years and it's paid off beautifully for you. You work for an incredible company, but you still got to live what you wanted to live in the moment, which was hold on to some clinical. And we all go through those moments where we need to listen to that insight that your body is telling you, because that's your body telling you, hey, this is the direction we should be going in. like you said, the worst thing that someone can say is no. So you might as well reach out and just say, hey, this is what I want to do. And you'd be surprised more often than not, people are interested in at least having the conversation. So, really awesome part of your story. And so, tell us a little bit about what you do now for Cloud in your full time position.
So I'm the student success manager. I work with dental hygiene students and educators. I'm on a team and we work to make sure that students know about Cloud and all of the free resources that we offer. So throughout the years, we've built out a ton of free resources to make their journey through school a little bit easier. Board prep resources, scholarships, mentorships, mock interview access, resume workshops, all kinds of things. Like the list goes on and on. And so we really want to make sure that dental hygiene students know about all of the tools that we have for them. All of it is at no cost. And then I also work really closely with dental hygiene educators to try to make their academic journey a little bit easier as well. So providing resources to schools and educators, methodology CEs are something that educators need. So access to those, and just really trying to support them and what their students need. So I'm always open to conversations with educators to find out like, how could we help you more? How can we help your program? What do you guys need? All of that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of outreach and relationship building. And then there's a lot of fun development with the app and the platform itself to create new features.
Yeah, I love everything that you guys are doing for students, the free resources. It's just something I didn't have in dental hygiene school. Like I don't remember webinars, these events. I don't even remember a page like you have where there's scholarships just like mentioned there. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, here I can go and I can see a bunch in one place. It felt like everything was spread out. And with students, they don't have the time, right? To go and be looking for all of these things. So when it's in one place, it's just so beautiful. And I love that when they're done, there's a next step into their new career, right? You have the resources for new grads. You have a lot of incredible things that are coming up soon. People will hear them on my podcast, which is exciting. But I just think that it's so beautiful that you had that idea, let's get engaged with the students. And now we're seeing all of the amazing things that have started from that, which is awesome. So thank you, for the hard work that y'all are putting in for the students. And students, if you're listening, you can head down to the show notes and find a link to sign up with Cloud, right? And find all of these free resources. But I would love to know, just kind of wrapping up, getting to the end here, what advice would you give to a student? Maybe looking back at, previous Dana, what would you have told yourself?
Not to take it so seriously, not to be so hard on yourself. I was so, like I said, determined to get into hygiene school, and my work life balance, my school life balance suffered a little bit because of that. And I think that I would probably like tell myself to not take it quite so seriously and like make a little bit more time for yourself, and like you're gonna get there. Like if you have that ambition and determination, like the pieces will come together. And I think that yeah, it was a stressful time of life, but I think a lot of that was self-induced.
You know what? I think I've recorded a few podcasts over the last month, and you and a couple of other people have said that. And it just echoes exactly how I feel, that it's okay to take some time for yourself because I did not do that, right? I was like laser focused the whole time. And even when I could have been having fun, it was like I couldn't just let loose, and I wish that that was something I could have done as well. So I think that that's incredible advice. I would love, Dana, for you to just share, where can students find you, learn more about what you offer, what Cloud offers, give them a little bit of the information before we sign off today.
Yeah, so you can find me. You can always reach out to me at Dana at clouddentistry.com if you want to send me an email. I love connecting with students. I love being a resource. My Instagram is Dana Schmitt, and anyone can find me there as well. But mostly, I love to tell students like reach out and connect with me before you graduate, after you graduate, at any time in your career. I love to offer support, guidance, anything that I can.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, we appreciate your time and excited about your new full time role and all of the amazing things to come. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you, Dana.